tapestry given to me by my beloved Zachary, and it is very precious to me, not only because it was given to me, but it just called to me the very first moment that I saw it, and the colors really resonate with me, and the imagery, and yeah, it just really sparks my soul up. And I see Zach in it every time it comes out, so I really love that, and it's and Zach and our eternal love together, being reminded of it. So it's a nice. So it is really nice to choose elements in your life that are somewhat special to you. You know, they have like a special meaning, because then you do work a little bit more diligently, become more observant. I feel like it's an encouragement sort of thing, and a kind of like a safety even, feeling of support, feeling supported. Okay, so this is interesting. I usually don't do it this way, but the cards are saying to have them flipped upright while I do this. Yeah. Okay, so tune in here and kind of set my intentions. Okay, so when I have my deck up to my heart, I breathe in through the crown of my head and my the base of my butt, like where my tailbone is, or my feet. I usually breathe in through my feet, through the earth, up my feet, up my tailbone and spine, and then to my heart, meeting like the breath from the crown and from the earth together at the heart. And then I breathe that breath out on the exhale through my arms, and my hands are holding the deck. So I kind of get this like, kind of like a triple eternal, like infinity loop thing happening, because I'm breathing in through divine sources, through the crown of my head and the bottom of my feet, to my heart, and that's one infinite loop. And then from my heart through my arms, it's another infinite loop. And then having the cards to my heart and breathing that flame that I talked about in the first movie I made, video, that eternal flame infinitely go through my heart to my hands. And like, so it's kind of like this infinite loop of, yeah, definitely an infinite loop. So I focus on that, and I breathe very deeply as I do it to move the energy that way. Really feel the tickle and the frequencies of the flames when I put them in the deck. So now I put the Fool in the center. I described why in the first video, so watch the first video if you haven't. And then this card actually represents as above, so below. So this is the start of my as above, so below. This is the frequency of so below. So it's interesting. And so this is the start of the cross. And then as within, so without. And so let's make sure that be observant here, that the imagery behind is matching the imagery that we are placing down, because it's part of the artistry. This is part of being an artist. Everything here is included in the art form. Okay? So now I have made my cross, and usually I start with a sacred circle to open, but it said to make a cross when I felt. So I had the deck in my hands, and I saw a vision of me making the cross first. So that's what I did. And now we're going to open, and I open to the left. This is how I do it, because I open my body to the left. It could be different for other people, but this is how I do it. So I'll start by placing the cards. I'm just going to show you first. It's going to be a little wonky. Got a balancing act. So I make sure this is going to be about that far down from the card, so I'll make sure it matches, and this will be that far up, a little bit over. Oops, I gotta cover this one. That's a beautiful color. Like that one, like this. Yeah, so it's about the same. Yeah, cover that. I'm going to talk you through this first, and then this is a little bit in the way, just so you know. And then show by example, but this is how it's going. Okay. So now I have my sacred circle open. Sometimes my sacred circle says to go clockwise instead. Usually it's to the left. Yeah. Okay. It's kind of like it's like a screw. So lefty loosey, righty tighty, it's the same concept. I'm loosening up the energy right now. I'm going to the left. So it is on the earth surface though, and if you are thinking about, is it the same? Like if I were to want to drill this into the earth's surface. Yeah, well, that's how I envision it. Okay, anyway. So now I'm going to start my sacred geometry movements. And now, so just for this video and for teaching purposes, you would become very quiet. I wouldn't be talking at all while doing this. And I would be focusing from the very first point on what the energy work of light being in a sacred geometry, in symbols, and like this is sacred geometry. I can envision that in the colors that come to me, as bright as those colors can be, in a mandala form, spreading out further and further and further. And I would start by putting down my first card, and right when I open the circle, that's when I start envisioning the sacred geometry and really breathing in and amplifying the feeling and the senses of that sacred geometry. So I'm going to make another cross, because I just did the circle. And now I'm going to start doing this little tricky pattern that I've developed. It's so I start here on the left side and I go across it to the right side. And to me, this is, I'm amplifying sacred geometry. I'm like making sacred geometry by making these movements. So then the next card I go to is over here to the other left, and then up here to the right. Then it goes, let's see, there. I want to make sure this way, that way. Yes, and then I go over here. Yeah, this is how I do it. I go back to the left, bottom left this time. Left side. Here. And then back down. And you'll just get the hang of whatever rhythm or whatever sacred geometry pattern you want to make. I like the crossing of it, crossing the center. And then, yeah, that seems to work for me. And you really have to concentrate when you're doing it. So then we go back to the top, make another cross. To the sides. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the movements I do while I'm doing this and the breath work. And then, okay, so for this deck, let me see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so tune in now. The last card always goes in the center. So when I was moving this time, I heard my intuition say, if anything's out of order, don't go back to it. This is resetting. It's meant to be that way, and it's natural for these to fall and not be so centered. So that's what I heard. But and to do it after for this part that I'm about to show you. So now I take my quartz crystals, my rose quartz, and I put them to my heart. And I take my other crystals and whatever else I'm going to use right now and put them to my heart, and I reset them into the moment by breathing in my heart's flame right into their heart. I'm really focusing on the sounds, the layers of sounds, my breath being in my body, my heartbeat, my heart. So now they're all reset into the moment. I will place, I'm hearing placing this geometry, sacred geometry in the center here. And this in the crown. one. Okay. So when I do sacred crystal grids, I listen to the stones. Ooh, someone just fell off my pants. Ah! I listen to the stones, and I will focus on like a point, usually. See how there's a point of that stone? I'll focus on using those stones, the points, to match each other. So that it's going, they're all the points of the stones are matching, so, like this. And the stones are in the center of the cards. And I will do my best to make it so that they're all charging the center. I almost feel like this should switch. Sometimes this happens, not often, but when I put it down, I was like, oh, that doesn't feel right. I suppose I should. Sometimes that just happens, and you just go with the flow of what it feels like to you. And then this is in the center, so we're going to be charging this stone. Okay. So this is how we open and charge the sacred geometry that we have just created. Two. This one is going to be tricky. Nope, got it. Not tricky. I go in the rhythm with which I had already placed the stone or the cards to. Okay. As much as I can. There's like an ant inside my pants. Crawling around. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Alright, so now I stand up. Oops. I use my tool, my ohm tuning fork. I really open up and swirl up. I really focus on that sacred geometry that folded in the light that we're focusing on. Expanded, vibrant, bright. Expanding out, and then I put my hands like this and I focus on doing Reiki and tuning into the frequencies of the reset. Okay. So now you can really take your time while you're doing this part too. But since this is a video, I'm not gonna do that. So waiting for the airplane to go over. Okay, so now that I've really set into that divine will of the what's it called? The sacred geometry and the mandala that's energetically here and the movements of it. Now I pick up the stones. And when I'm picking up the stones, I'm taking this energy that I've expanded so big and so bright, and now I'm going to be bringing it in so it will get even brighter and more dense, and just like a bit, like a small ball of really strong light, and frequency and intention. So I will go the other way, and I will start here, and I usually bring it to the center like this, and then plop it in. And closing. Sometimes I do this in the same order of that I had placed when I started too. Maybe focus on your breath while you're doing this. Now I can take the cards and I place the card on top of this card and start closing the circle. And as I'm closing, I envision all of that sacred geometry going into the deck and really compacting in the deck with a lot of power. And sometimes I do take the deck and put it in the center like how I did with the stones, but I decided to do it this way. And then I close it with the last card. I put the last card so it's like a sandwich. And now I really put this card to my heart again, and I really focus on how condensed the energy is and how strong and powerful, and it's all of this is like, all of this geometry is really like small and tiny and like the microcosm in here, and it's in every atom and every molecule of this being. And then I can just start shuffling it, or I will put it in my hand like this, and I'll tune into my intuition and get visions of how to move the cards. And they're saying that shuffling, and I want to be shuffled like this. And when I'll do shuffling like this without thought, and just breathe, and focus on my breath, and keep shuffling, and watch all that sacred geometry transform into new, more powerful sacred geometry within it. Like you can watch the mandala move. Maybe it just dances, maybe it just moves, but with your mind's eye, or just feel it in your body, it moving. And then I'll like watch in my mind's eye. It's so funny. The card that flew out was the Fool. It's the one that we've been talking about the most.